Hello, third grade readers. Today we are going to read a story called My School's a Zoo. And as we read this story, we are going to be focusing on something called pronouns. Do any of you know what a pronoun is? Or have you ever heard the word pronoun? Although you might not know what a pronoun is, I bet that you use pronouns all the time and you read them all the time. Pronouns are words that can be used instead of a name. Examples of pronouns are going to be words like her and hers. Her and hers belong to her. You have my and mine. My and mine belong to me. You have his, which belongs to him. You have its, which belongs to it. You have their and theirs, that belongs to them, and our and ours, that belong to us. So other pronouns are also me, him, her, or she, them, it, and us. So those are all words that can be used to talk about a specific person or a group of people. So they can be used in place of those names of those people. And everyone has different pronouns that they identify with. You might identify with her or she. You might identify with him, he, and his. Or you might identify with they, them, or theirs. Which pronoun do you identify with? It is your choice of which pronoun you identify with. All right, as we read the story, we are going to come across a lot of pronouns. My school's a zoo. Well, my is a pronoun. Instead of saying a specific name, they say my school. Yesterday's trip to the zoo left me feeling rather strange, like my life was somehow different or just about to change. Which pronouns do you notice in these sentences or in this sentence? The pronouns I notice are me and my. My parents didn't look the same. I watched them snort and drool. My sister ate my homework. I'm glad it's time for school. Point out those pronouns. As I climbed aboard the school bus, my heart began to race. The driver waved his hairy arms with banana on his face. Animals crammed in every seat. Where'd all the people go? There has to be an answer. I'll bet Miss Wright will know. All right. Which pronouns do you notice on this page? We have my. My is talking about I, the author of the story, or whose perspective it is from. We have his, but who is his talking about? Our sentence is, the driver waved his hairy arms with banana on his face. His represents the driver. So instead of saying a sentence like, the driver waved the driver's hairy arms with a banana on the driver's face, we use pronouns like his. His lets us know that it is about the driver, and it helps us from having really repetitive sentence with the driver over and over again. It gives us variety of our sentences as we write and read. What pronoun do you think Miss Wright will have? What pronoun do you think the people will have? So remember, pronouns can be about a group of people as well. Like animals, that is a group. Think about what pronoun a group might use. I ran into my classroom, but my teacher wasn't there. I would have told the sub if she hadn't been a bear. There were beehives in my desk and lizards at my feet. A goat ate all my pencils. There were needles on my seat. Count the pronouns that you see on this page. Let's count them together. I ran into my classroom, but my teacher wasn't there. I would have told the sub if she hadn't been a bear. There were beehives in my desk and lizards at my feet. A goat ate all my pencils. There were needles on my seat. There are 7 pronouns on this page, and they're all about the I or the me. They belong to me, which is the character, that story. This is in their perspective. So these are all possessive pronouns. The desk belongs to my, the feet belong to my, the pencils belong to my, and the seat belongs to my, describing what that character has. Oftentimes when you are talking about yourself or writing about yourself, you are using pronouns like my and mine. By the time I got to art class, there was nothing I could do. There were pythons on the ceiling wreaking havoc with the glue. Computer lab was crazy. The mice were eating slugs. The computers didn't work on account of all the bugs. I tried to call for help, but a yak was on the phone. The principal was useless. He was gnawing on a bone. What's the pronoun in this page? He. Who is the he talking about? Well, let's read the sentence again. The principal was useless. He was gnawing on a bone. So that tells me that he represents the principal. It's talking about the principal. The librarian caught me hiding, and she threw me quite a look. She threw me quite a look. As I glanced around the room, I noticed worms in every book. I also want to point out that I is a pronoun as well. So instead of saying the name of the character is using the pronoun I or my. So I is also a pronoun. So here we have the pronoun she. Who is she? That's right, she is the librarian. Because we know, because the sentence says, the librarian caught me hiding. She threw me quite a look. The lunchroom sure was crowded. The aides looked pretty mean. The lions and the wildebeest were causing quite a scene. The lobster in my lunchbox snapped its claws in the air. A vulture watched me patiently so he could take his share. Which pronouns do you see on this page? And who are the pronouns talking about? Let's read again. The lobster in my lunchbox. Who's my? That's right, it's the character telling the story. Snapped its claws. Its is a pronoun. Who is its talking about? Whose claws are they? That's right, the lobster. And a vulture watched me patiently, so he, who is he? That's right, it's the vulture. This is a pronoun for vulture. Could take his share. The turtles on the playground were spinning down the slide, while hyenas laughed in chorus as a hippo took a ride. Music class was noisy. A penguin led our band. The ostrich missed his cue, and the monkey smashed his hand. All right, here we have some more pronouns. There's one that we haven't seen yet. Do you know which one we haven't seen yet? Well, here I see he. The ostrich missed his cue. So talking about the ostrich. And the monkey smashed his hand. Talking about the monkey. But I want to take a look at a penguin led our band. Our is a pronoun. It represents a group. So when the character talks about our, he means the school's band. I was feeling kind of nauseous, so I went to see the nurse. But judging by her awful things, I thought she'd make things worse. Here I'm noticing her and she'd. That's talking about the nurse. There were starfish on my papers, and a beaver cleaned the boards. The seal clapped 2 erasers while a fox gave out awards. I see my. Again, we already know that my is a pronoun. The bus ride home was dreadful. The skunks made quite a stink. Did the zoo trip cause this mess? I closed my eyes to think. The next thing I knew, the driver tapped my hand. Things seemed back to normal with my sister eating sand. I see the pronoun my. I sure hope that our next trip to the dinosaur display won't have the same effect as the zoo trip did today. But that could never happen. The dinosaurs are gone. At least I think they are. Then again, I could be wrong. Here's our pronoun they. They is talking about the dinosaurs. He thinks that the dinosaurs are. All right, I want you to think about all of the pronouns that you learned about and heard about today. And think about when you use pronouns when you're talking, when you're listening, and when you're writing. As you are writing and practicing writing your paragraphs over the next few weeks and months, you need to think about using pronouns. Pronouns help give us differences in our sentences, and pronouns always talk about a person or a group of people. And remember, different people can identify and choose different pronouns that they would like used. All right, I hope this was very fun. This was a fun and silly book, but it also taught you a lot about pronouns. You will now be working and practicing on using pronouns.